you all for joining us this evening for this very happy occasion. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 7 o'clock. I would like to ask everyone to just join us as we open this meeting with the pledge to the flag, so if you could please rise. At this time, Dr. Hayes would like to say a few words.
So tonight is a very special evening, and we are pleased to honor our varsity girls and boys soccer teams for giving our combined communities of Fanwood and Scotch Plains an extremely exciting season of soccer. Once again, you all delivered for us. The famous Brazilian soccer player Pelé once quoted as saying, "Success is no accident. It is hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, sacrifice, and most of all, love of what you are doing or learning to do." The soccer teams assembled here tonight are to be congratulated for their hard work and perseverance, for working together as a team, and for the camaraderie and good sportsmanship they continually displayed both on and off the field. The values and the skills that you have learned on the soccer field will last you a lifetime. We are very proud of all that you accomplished this season. In order to have a high-achieving soccer team, you need exceptional soccer coaches. All of our high school coaches assume the diverse roles of trainer, strategist, psychologist, caring friend, and counselor. Our head coaches, Kevin Ewing and Tom Brzezinski, as well as their assistant coaches, Michelle Tobier, Matt Tiedemann, Joe Higgins, Joe Motorola, Ken Ellsworth, and Ryan McKenna, have had a positive impact on the personal development of all the young athletes that are here this evening. So on behalf of the board and myself, we thank you for the many hours that you spend on the soccer fields with our athletes. I also want to thank your parents who cheered you on, the parents who lifted your spirits and offered you words of encouragement when you lost the game and cheered even louder than anyone else when you won the games. You always owe them thanks for being there each and every day for you. So athletes, please thank your parents. And now I'd like to invite Dr. David Heisey, the principal of Scotch Plains Fanwood High School, up so that he can also share some of his remarks with us this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Hayes. So as principal of the high school, I know many of these students, and then, of course, seeing the students first, and athletes second. And I've been to many soccer games, both the boys and the girls games, and they represent our school in a very positive way. And soccer is a long season. We start in mid-August, and many of you are playing soccer year-round. And as Dr. Hayes said, it's no mistake. It's not luck that has brought you to this Union County Championship year after year, I must add. So, the superiority that you have as soccer players, and not just in Union County, but in the state of New Jersey. And you're respected not just as a soccer program, but as outstanding individuals. Because as I said before, first and foremost, win or lose, I expect players to represent our school in a positive way, and you do. And it's a bonus through your hard work and your dedication, and that of the coaches as well, that you've had the success that you've had, and hopefully you'll pass that on to the younger players that are here, and the younger players that will be at the high school in future years, setting the stage for continued success as student athletes. So I congratulate all of you.
So now I'd like to call up Kevin Ewing as well, and Michelle Tobier. I see you're out there. Come on up. And we would like our girls soccer team to come forward, stand and face the audience. And I would like to ask Amy Winkler to come up to read the resolution that the board has prepared in your honor.
Whereas the 2015 Scotch Plains Banwood High School varsity girls soccer team, you can stand in front of me, it's okay. They're not here for me, they're here for you. Whereas the 2015 Scotch Plains Banwood High School varsity girls soccer team achieved an impressive soccer record of 20 wins, 2 losses, and 1 tie. And whereas the varsity girls soccer team continued the tradition of being one of the top teams in Union County and the state of New Jersey. And whereas on October 31st, 2015, the Scotch Plains Banwood High School girls varsity soccer team competed in the Union County Championship against Westfield High School at Arthur L. Johnson High School. Scotch Plains Banwood upended Westfield 2-1, earning their 6th consecutive county title and the 10th of the past 11 years. And whereas the girls' soccer team was the Watchung Division champions of the Union County Conference and advanced to the semifinals of the New Jersey State Interscholastic Athletic Association sectional tournament. And whereas the 2015 Scotch Plains Banwood High School varsity girls' soccer team consists of the following players: Caroline Babbis, Kylie Byrne, Sophie Browse, Alyssa DiFrancesco, Kayla Diggs, Taylor Diggs, Sabrina DeLallo, Gina Farrenholtz, Jacqueline Farrenholtz, Erin Hayes, Kayla Prudis, Jillian Lapidus, Andrea Leitner, Amanda Logie, Carrie McNeely, Danielle Mrozek, Caitlin Mrozek, Erica Muskus, Brianna O'Brien, Annie Pierce, Cara Provenzano, Christina Rogers, Ashley Vincent, Carly Zob. Whereas the 2015 Scotch Plains Banwood High School varsity girls soccer team, directed by head coach Kevin Ewing and assistant varsity coach Michelle Tobier, assisted by JV coach Matt Tiedemann and freshman coach Joe Higgins, exhibited outstanding talent, dedication, and teamwork throughout the season. And whereas this team received recognition by students, staff, and the Scotch Plains and Banwood communities for their outstanding efforts and achievements, now therefore be it resolved that the Scotch Plains Banwood Board of Education recognizes and congratulates the 2015 varsity girls soccer team and their coaches for their outstanding achievements and extends to them best wishes for continued success. Oh, is there a second? All right.
Now I'd like to invite Kevin Ewing to share a few comments as well.
First, I'd like to thank the Board of Education for honoring both the girls and the boys. As some people said, both the boys and the girls are excellent students, in the classroom, and they're excellent athletes on the field. They're also positive role models for younger kids that come to watch the games. If you've ever been to either a boys game or a girls game, there's always younger kids there. The group of girls that we have are excellent players, excellent athletes, and better people. So I'm really proud to coach them. So thank you to the Board of Education, Dr. Hayes, Dr. Heisey, and Mr. Miller for honoring us tonight. Thank you.
So girls, show the boys how we're doing it. So if the boys would be so kind as to come up and gather around, I will invite our Board Vice President Jean Cleary to read the boys' resolution.
Whereas the 2015 Scotch Plains Banwood High School varsity boys soccer team achieved an impressive soccer record of 20 wins and 2 losses and 2 ties. And whereas this varsity boys soccer team continued the tradition of being one of the top teams in Union County and the state of New Jersey. And whereas on October 30th, 2015, the Scotch Plains Fanwood High School boys soccer team won the Union County Championship title against Elizabeth High School at Keene University before a crowd of more than 500 fans. The varsity boys soccer teams have won the Union County title 11 times and have played in the final 15 times. And whereas the 2015 Scotch Plains Fanwood High School varsity boys soccer team consists of the following players: Andrew Borick, John Brady, Jordan Simring, Zachary Simring, Robert Devine Gelling, Patrick Ellman, Benjamin Essenfeld, Alex Ferrara, Michael Ferrara, Alex Guevara, Zachary Homa, Julian Cordova, Jake Longo, Brian McManus, Sean Murray, Tyler O'Brien, Brian Peterson, Barry Rosenzweig, Steven Scarcella, Aaron Schack, Jonathan Schwab, Stav Shodney, James Tenzer, Jack Valian, Robert Viglione, David Walker. Whereas the 2015 Scotch Plains Fanwood High School varsity boys soccer team, directed by head coach Tom Rosnitsky and assistant varsity coach Joe Mortaluo, assisted by JV coach Ken Ellsworth and freshman coach Ryan McKenna, exhibited outstanding talent, dedication, and teamwork throughout the season. And whereas this team received recognition by students, staff, and the Scotch Plains and Fanwood communities for their outstanding efforts and achievements. Now therefore be it resolved that the Scotch Plains Fanwood Board of Education recognizes and congratulates the 2015 varsity boys soccer team and their coaches for their outstanding achievements and extends to them best wishes for continued success. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations, gentlemen.
And now I'd like to invite Mr. Brzezinski to come and make a few remarks.
All right, well, first of all, I'd like to thank the administration and the Board of Education for the acknowledgement of our athletic programs, whether it be soccer, but all sports. Very behind athletics in our community, and that has been obviously one of the reasons for the success that we've had over the years. We're a few guys short here, and I'd like to point out a reason why. We have 3 of our guys that had mandatory rehearsal for Mr. Spiffy High tomorrow evening. But you know what? That shows that, both girls and boys, are involved in many things within our high school community other than just playing sports. We have several guys that are, a couple guys that are working, a couple guys, because we're about 8 or 10 short, a couple guys that are away on college visitations. In regard to that, I'd like to acknowledge Zach Alma, who made a commitment to play soccer, continue his education, step forward, and one of the reasons I bring that up is Zach is the 50th in my coaching career to go on and play Division I soccer, which is something that can be said in regard to, So congratulations, Zach. The 2 Simrings aren't here. They are both committed to Muhlenberg, and we have 5 or 6 other guys who have yet to make their decision. And I just want to make one correction, that the boys soccer program has won 19, not 11, but 19 championships. You don't win without great players and great kids, and I've said this a couple times throughout the course of the season. Last year we won 23 games, lost 3, and we lost in the Group 4 state final. So to come back and win another 20 games, is an attribute to these guys who every year want to do as good as the team previously. And I truly, truly enjoyed this group this past season. It was a great bunch of guys, a pleasure to go to day in and day out in practice, and I firmly believe that they felt the same way. We had a lot of fun, we won a lot of games, And that's probably the most that you can ask for as far as coaching a high school program. So once again, thank you all for honoring this group and have a happy holiday.
And now we'll ask Mr. Miller if he wants to share a few words.
Thanks, everybody. I'm sorry about tonight. Life sometimes gets in the way of all of your best laid plans. I said to a couple parents after the girls won their county championship that this never gets old, and it really doesn't. Every single win, every single accomplishment, every time you all step on the field and represent Scotch Plains and Fanwood, it never gets old because you are so wonderfully strong ambassadors for what we teach and what we work on here. You put sportsmanship first, and in putting sportsmanship first, you continue to win. And that makes you an example not only for this community, but for every team that we face. You both, boys, girls programs, incredible. The work you put in to get ready for this, the efforts you put forward in every single contest are remarkable. And I wish the seniors the very best. We're going to miss you. The underclassmen, you've got a lot to continue to work for. And I want to be here again next year, and I'm sure you do too. So congratulations, and thanks again.
So these are the joys of being a superintendent when we get to honor our students. So thank you to each and every one of you for the pride that you bring to our schools and our communities. And with that, we've got some refreshments, and we'd like you all to share some time with the board and with your parents. So this concludes this portion of the program, so thank you all for coming.
Good evening. I'd like to call this public meeting back into session. We are resuming from earlier this evening when we recognized our boys and girls varsity soccer teams. We did state the pledge at that time, so we will move on with the agenda. Notice of this meeting was, in accordance with the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law, was given and published. Written notice was given, to the Times, the Township Clerk of Scotch Plains, and the Borough Clerk of Fanwood, and the annual notice of regularly scheduled meetings. This evening, we are going to move a little out of order on the agenda, and we will be doing our instructional updates first. Just got it all covered. At this time, I'd like to turn the meeting over to Dr. Hayes.
Okay, and with your indulgence, I'm going to go over to the mic. So at this time, is this on? We're good? At this time, I would like to call Noelle Baxter up to the podium. Noelle is our supervisor of social studies. And the reason we're here tonight to honor Noelle is because Noelle Baxter, as our district's social studies supervisor, has recently been honored by the New Jersey Social Studies Supervisors Association with their Leadership Award for 2015. And with her indulgence, I'm just going to read a few remarks that were sent on her behalf by Robert Odell, who's the vice president of that association. So what he wrote was, I consider it a distinct honor to be able to present this award to Noelle Baxter. As social studies educators, we are familiar with the observation that for centuries in the ancient Mediterranean, all roads lead to Rome. And in New Jersey, social studies education, all roads lead to Noel Baxter. There is little that happens in our field in the state that does not owe its planning, implementation, and continuance to her energetic advocacy for social studies education. If there's a concern or an issue in social studies that requires someone to be passionate about addressing, Noel's your person. You will find her on the road to Trenton. If there's a need for training teachers, she'll organize the session. If these aspiring teachers need help in their first job, again, Noel will be the one to dedicate part of the weekend to organizing and running a day where young graduates can meet with supervisors and experience the interview process. In Mr. Odell's words, he can't think of a recent meeting in the state, either for the New Jersey Council of Social Studies or the supervisors, that does not owe its planning and organization to Noel Baxter. It's no accident that those who recognize her talent are very glad that she has been elected as president, not just of one, but of both organizations. You are an ambassador for social studies education. You are fervent and you are passionate about it, and our students benefit each and every day, as do our teachers under your leadership. So our board is happy to acknowledge that you've received this prestigious award and is happy to congratulate you on this wonderful success. Thank you, Noel.
So thank you very much for this recognition. I get really emotional thinking about all the things that were said in the presentation, but I do want to say thank you very much to the board and to the community of Scotch Plains and Fanwood for all of the support, not just for myself and for the teachers to attend conferences and for all the things that that you support for us to do, but also for the fact that in this district it's really easy to advocate for social studies. When I work with supervisors and teachers from other districts, I know that it's often a challenge to make sure that social studies really has an important part in their curriculum. And in Scotch Plains and Fanwood, it has been really an absolute joy and pleasure to work here, knowing that so many of the things that I'm doing are important not just to me and the teachers that I work with, but to really everyone who is interested in education in this community. So thanks again for all of your support and for the recognition tonight.
I'd just like to give a shout out to Noel's husband, because we know he shares her with us because she puts in many long hours on our behalf. And to your fine young boys who have to share their mother with us as well. Thank you to all of you.
Anybody want to make any comments? Dr. Polkowski?
Thank you, Noel. It's a pleasure working with you all the time in the curriculum meetings, and we are very proud and very happy to have you here. We are so happy that you have received these honors, and we're so happy to just acknowledge this for you. So keep it up, and we love you. Thanks.
Noel, I have always been impressed by your enthusiasm, your creativity. You just bring so much to everything that you do here. And so I'm just so glad that outside of our district, you're being recognized here. That's really awesome.
And being that you've got this wonderful honor, we're honored too to have you as a teacher here with us. And the students are honored too, just to have you. So thank you so much for all that you do.
I remember when you were hired. And I remember thinking, how is she going to do it, because your predecessor had such big shoes? And I really was concerned on the person replacing was just going to fall in the shadows. And the path you have forged, not only for yourself, but for our district and most importantly our students, we are all the better for you having come to us. And I can't thank you enough for what you've done. And I think it's really appropriate each meeting, it seems, or at least each month, we have new artwork around. And as I'm glancing to my left, I don't know what the tie-in is with that, but I'm seeing crests over there by the fourth graders from Coles. So I kind of slid over to peek to see who were the lucky ones. And I think one of the values that the divisions that you brought, philosophically, it doesn't just have to be time for social studies. That we can be doing art and infusing so many other cross-curriculum ideas and support. And I think just on the walls of this meeting, we're seeing the talents of the collaboration between the different supervisors. And I think although we celebrate this award for recognition for you, I think on a broader level, we here are quite lucky to have your vision and talents. And thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Okay, I would like to just address the fact, I have the sincere pleasure of being with you very often on the curriculum committee. And I have noticed just how well you are prepared for everything that comes along and how well you work with your colleagues. And because of those relationships that you have formed with your colleagues and with board members, you know, we've been able to do wonderful things under your leadership. And on a personal level, as a parent of this district, I just say thank you. I applaud you. You work tirelessly, and you are so approachable. When I have had questions or concerns, I've been able to discuss it with you, as many of us have. So just thank you very much. Keep on doing what you're doing, and thank you for bringing, you know, prestige to us as well for all your hard work and dedication. So thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, so you don't have to stay because I know you're involved with many things, and you've got two little ones to get home to. But I also just want to say in passing that we are also very grateful for all the work and support you've given recently to our grant applications. That's not a small thing, and thank you. Tonight we'll be approving the application for the second round of the coaches grant. And as you know, we've been very benefited by the fact that we've received the grant with Kane and Plainfield. So a lot of that work goes to you, so it's just one of many things that you carve out time to do. So go home and do some more. And now for the second part of our instructional update, I'd like to welcome Kaylin Taggart. Kaylin is here to do her twice-a-year update for the board on ERS, electronic violence and vandalism reporting, as well as harassment, intimidation, and bullying stats and programs that we're required to do according to state mandate. So, turn it over to Kaylin.
Let me just say, I hate following that. But I will say, even though she's gone, Noelle is the person we went to, and we wanted to try and figure out how to move our Green Dot program from 30 leaders a year to an entire 1,500 school of kids who could be trained. And Noelle said, gladly take them on social studies. And she said, I'll work with you because social emotional is just as important. And so she's the one that's worked with us to, by the end of this year, have our entire school trained. So I hope you guys know that as well. All right, to the reports. I'll be doing both reports tonight. So I'll be starting with our violence and vandalism reporting, and then I'll be doing our more detailed harassment. So this data is for the reporting period of January 2015 to June 2015, so our previous spring of this past school year. The data presented is based on 5 identified categories by the State Department of Education and is entered biannually into the reporting system. This data is reported, as Dr. Hayes said, publicly to the board 2 times a year. And again, the following data is for January to June of 2015. For that time period, we had 12 incidents of violence, 5 incidents of vandalism, 1 incident of weapons, 4 incidents of substance use, and 18 confirmed incidents of harassment, intimidation, and bullying. Questions on our big number, or broad categories? Okay. I'm going to move on then to our more detailed information specifically about the harassment, intimidation, and bullying. So again, for the January to June 2015, we had a total number of investigations of 47. Of that, like I previously noted, we had 18 confirmed incidents of harassment, intimidation, and bullying. The status of all our investigations is complete, as reported on the monthly Board of Ed agendas, and as witnessed by you guys. When we are looking at harassment, intimidation, intimidation and bullying numbers, we also specifically looked at whether any of our cases are based on protected categories. For that reporting period, we had one based on race, one based on color, one based on religion, one on ancestry, one on origin, 2 on gender, 1 on sexual orientation, and 2 on disability. It is important to note that this can be a duplicated count because one case can be based on more than one protected category. For that time period, we had several investigators. At our middle school level, it was our middle school guidance counselors, Denise Palazzola, Marianne Degnan, Jason Cross, Chrissy Krasowski, and also one of our school social workers, Patience Moore. At our elementary level, it was 2 school social workers, April Chastain and Cesare Medley, and at the high school, it was myself. In terms of outcomes of our cases, we talked both discipline and remediation. For discipline imposed during that time period, we had parent conferences, student conferences, suspension of privileges, students were advised of future consequences, detention, and suspension. For remediation, we had teacher monitoring of student interactions, monitoring by aides and hallway monitors, changes of seating, schedule changes, limiting interactions between students, check-ins by support staff members, individual counseling both school and community-based, social skills groups, classroom-based lessons, facilitation of restitution and restoration, student conferences, parent conferences, connection to school-based sports and extracurricular activities, the engagement of the child study team, and skill building activities. We also are going to go over both training and programming. For training, during the January to June time period, we had harassment, intimidation, and bullying policy and protected classes training, interventions and prevention trainings, school culture and climate trainings, school-based programming training, and outside trainings including cyberbullying and cyber harassment, teen dating violence, the Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights Act, and threat assessment, as well as the prevention of school violence. For programming with our students and our families, we had the Green Dot Bystander Intervention Program, as I mentioned before, the Healthy Lifestyles Assembly, high school peer leaders providing emotional lessons at our elementaries, service learning, anti-bullying public service announcements, school-wide assemblies of bullying and related topics, the ACE program to reinforce positive behaviors at the middle school level, DARE programming, the STAR program, PALS program at our middle school level, parent workshops on social media safety, Think Purple activities, Passport Day to promote cultural awareness, NJ CAN Career Life Readiness program, the Walk-A-Day program to encourage empathy, diversity conference attendance by both students and staff, classroom-based character education lessons, field days for team building, school spirit and culture activity, new student orientation, cross-age peer teaching lessons, social skills groups for targeted students at our elementary and middle school levels, classroom discussions on HIB policy and students' rights at all levels, the Dream, Believe, and Work to Achieve leadership program, the bucket filling program to reinforce positive interactions between students, Mix It Up lunch, random acts of kindness activities, and responsive classroom program. That is it. Questions?
I just have a question, because you've been doing this for how many years?
This will be our fifth year. Yeah, we're into our 5th year.
What have you learned in 5 years?
Oh, man.
How about just one or two things?
I think for us, from the beginning to now, the thing that we've learned and that has provided us the most benefit is that this is a whole community effort. So we went in and realized this was a piece where we needed to engage and train staff, students, parents, community members, coaches, volunteers, everyone. And so we've been working really hard at doing that and continuing to do that on an evolving basis, but I think that's the biggest piece we've learned. When we tried to address just one area or another, it didn't come together. And when we went at every area at once, it did seem to change all of a sudden. And so we're seeing that in our climate, we're seeing that in our reports of behavior, we're seeing that in our suspensions and detentions, and hopefully we'll continue to
questions? Okay, that was a wonderful question, by the way, and a wonderful reply, so thank you for that. It sheds more light on that work.
Okay, I just want to thank Ms. Taggart. You're doing phenomenal work in your leadership. Not only does she work with all of our anti-bullying specialists, provide a lot of the training, but your day-to-day work with students is really most impressive. So thank you for all you're doing, and get home safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll see you guys in spring.
Yes, that's right. Okay, at this time, I would like to, in accordance with the public school bylaw 0161, 0165, the meeting will be open. Anyone wishing to make comments? Okay, seeing no one at this time, we will move on to committee reports. Do we have any committee reports? Mr. Pinker?
I have a shared services report. Shared Services Committee met on December 2nd and discussed a number of different things. The ones that would apply to the school district. There was some discussion about the Safe Routes to Schools grants and sidewalks. It was reported that the process to obtain grants is ongoing under the direction of Rose Checchio from Scotch Plains. Primarily, they want to put sidewalks near Terrell and Park. The Kids Recreation Trust Fund grant, we had some more discussion about that. Basically, we determined, as we discussed before, that we want to get all three parties together and get ourselves on the same page about what do we want to possibly do with the fields behind Terrell. Is there anything that we want to do with it? And how far would we go if we do anything now? Briefly, we mentioned the parking situation at the park middle school. Deb said she is planning within the next month to meet with the engineer to begin design work for that. It should be fairly extensive because it's going to require drainage options and issues to be dealt with. There are some serious drainage issues there now. Voting at school sites, the County Board of Elections is supposed to contact us in January or February to discuss some options for alternative sites for voting. Al Mirabella suggested that he might speak with someone over there and see if they would come to our next shared services meeting in January. There was some discussion about maybe discussing in the coming year, joint training for staff of the three entities for code of conduct, diversity, ethics, sensitivity, those sort of issues. Doug mentioned that much of ours gets done online, and both Scotchman and family were interested in that. So we're going to discuss with them what we do, and they work usually near their chips for that. So see if there's any benefit to combining that. There was also some discussion about maybe trying to get further coordination with all three entities for the Office of Emergency Management or any services that they would provide us with. But that's really it. So we need to get our heads together and consider what's in our budget that we, what we might want to do or not do. It's fine. So that's really where we're at.
Are there any questions? Okay, thank you. Any other committee reports?
Yeah, I do. Both finance and facilities met the other night on December 7th. So facilities first. The county business administrator has informed Mrs. Sarah Dackey that if we use the excess extraordinary aid funds from the 2014-15 school year, that we can move forward with the paving project at the Park Middle School. So you will see on tonight's agenda 9 BUS and its asterisk, so we'll be asked to vote on that tonight. The recommendation of the Facilities Committee is that we do vote to use that money, to move that money over so that we can begin the process of the paving project at Park Middle School that was just discussed by, or brought up by Amy, and has been an ongoing issue. Next, the area for the Evergreen addition that the board approved a few meetings ago, it has been fenced out and they expect work to begin this week. Has it actually started?
I think now they changed it to Monday.
So it's been scheduled to begin? Okay. Next, the second site that we have approved funds for additions is the McGinn School, and the footings have been started already along the foundation, and Ms. Saradaki had pictures for the Facilities Committee to see. They have to do, or they just did, I guess, yesterday, soil inspections, and then they have to determine rebar, the reinforcing bar that is used for the foundation. They're determining based on that just what type of, the tensile strength or the rebar that would be used. So that was facilities. As noted in many prior reports, facilities and finance, there's a lot of overlap. So within the finance, we also discussed the movement of the funds for extraordinary aid for our middle school, so we've covered that. Additionally, on our agenda tonight, 5 BUS, we are being asked tonight, and the Finance Committee recommends that we approve the business administrator, Sarah Dackey, to enter into an agreement with the Middlesex Regional Educational Service Commission. We already have an agreement with them. It's expiring. The reason that Sarah Dackey is being prudent by putting it on tonight's agenda is because it's a 5-year contract. So the contract is coming up for renewal, and she's just thinking that it's probably best to use this 5-year agreement. Middlesex Ed Services is similar to Union County Ed Services that we are a member of. So it's just to, in this particular case, it's for special ed tuition agreements. And again, 5 BUS if you're following along on the agenda. Additionally, in finance, we discussed, and again, on tonight's agenda for a vote is 6 BUS. Once again, with Middlesex Regional Educational Services Commission. This is related to environmental insurance that they are all able to provide us with the best pricing. So the committee's recommendation is that we approve 6 BUS. That comes up for a vote later. We also discussed the alarm system we have is Honeywell, the alert system. That is also on our agenda, 7 BUS. We will not be asked to vote until next week. Again, the committee's recommendation is that we do approve it. Of note on that is there is a price increase. It's going up 1% or $130 for renewal cost. So it's going from $12,992 annually to $13,122. That period will be from March 1st of 16 through February 28th. Again, we'll be voting on that next week. Next, 8 BUS, also a vote for that will take place next week, although it's not on the agenda, is a contract with Jersey Professional Management. They are the overseers and facilitators of shared services. When you have multiple entities, in this case, our school district, the Borough of Fanwood, and the Township of Scotch Plains, having served on that committee a number of years ago, and I think Mrs. Winkler would be able to support this, there are times where, although all 3 governing bodies have good intent, there are times that it's critical that a neutral third party is in the room to help keep the groups on task and also to facilitate through asking questions as each of us have our own things we're trying to protect or agendas trying to move forward. So this is to facilitate that. They have been doing it for a number of years. This is the contract renewal. There is no price increase. The total for the annual fee is $6,930. It is shared equally between all 3 parties, so the board's cost would be $2,310 as it is under the current year that we're working under. That's 8 BUS, and that will be voted on next week. Once again, the committee is recommending that we do this. Finally, 14 BUS on our agenda, again, that will be for a vote next week, is Sarah Dackey had gone out, I think we were all informed of this prior, for a timekeeping system. On 14 BUS, you'll be able to see there are a number of bids that were received. There were two formats that were used just to make sure that it's most efficient as well as the best price, whereas it was a cloud-based setup as well as using our network. It has proved that for the winning bid, the lowest bid is Veritime. That is the recommendation. Veritime is a subsidiary of Frontline Technologies, which is the parent company for ASOP. So there's the integration. The integration work should be a little bit easier because of the known systems, and we're currently, help me with the setup, we're currently using an ASOP-based system. So quite possibly they were able to cut their bid because there were some, some symmetries from having already been having a similar platform. So, and we're starting to get into more technology that I'm comfortable with, so I'm going to leave it at that. Veritime was the lowest bidder, and we're recommending that we, the committee is recommending we go with Ms. Sarah Dackey's recommendation, and next week approve that. That is both finance and facilities. If anyone has any questions, either myself or possibly myself, we'll definitely Sarah Dackey.
Any questions? Any other committee reports? Okay, I do actually have the curriculum committee meeting report. We met on December 7th with Dr. Hayes, Dr. Mast, Murthy Bajaj, our science K-12 supervisor, and Liz Nodell Gordon was our substance awareness coordinator. Thank you, I forgot to put that on you. Beginning with Liz Nodell Gordon, she brought to us information regarding the DARE program, which has been suspended in the state of New Jersey, and is being replaced. She is looking for support on replacing it with Law Enforcement Against Drugs, also known as the LEAD program. This is specifically for 5th graders. This program is a framework for prevention. It's skill-based, interactive with classroom discussions, role-playing, small group discussions, team building, and cooperative learning, similarly to the DARE program. It covers areas such as peer resistance, assertiveness, problem solving, and she was very thorough in going over with us the specifics of this. We actually, the other board members I have a workbook that she let us see for the 5th grade. I actually was looking into the side and I forgot to look at it. Interestingly, excuse me, the training for the staff, which is 4 police officers, are trained so far, and 2 to 3 officers will be trained in early 2016. She did mention that the training is at the expense of the Scotch Plains Police Department, and the cost of the workbooks for the children is actually free. The LEAD program in New Jersey is paying for them. There is an evaluation component with pre and post testing to evaluate the success of the program and the impact on the students that it's applied to. And the committee's recommendation is to approve and support this program. Moving on to Murthy Bajaj, we had 2 updates from Madula. She discussed the update on the science changes from grade 9 to 12, which are due to the implementation of the next generation science standards. We had previously had a discussion on this with Ms. Bajaj, and this was based upon some of that discussion. She came back to us with some of the points. So further to that meeting, she had amended a plan that was proposed. Basically what's happening is that starting with next year, visits, right now students take
3 years of science, but the third year, they are able to pick electives to pursue. Starting next year, all students in the state of New Jersey will be required to take physics. The question on the table is how to best bring that into the district, and there's been extensive work being done by Marie Bajaj and our administrators and staff to examine that, including looking at other districts and what other districts are doing. There is a movement for physics first, which she discussed at length with us. We are still evaluating. We are looking at piloting that next year, which I think is a good way to go with such a large change. Physics is based on the math curriculum, so we would have to look at doing that, as well as professional training for teachers that are presently working with juniors and seniors. They would now be looking at working with ninth graders. So there are substantial issues involved in this, but we are making great headway. I should say, staff and making great headway, and I was pleased to listen. The plan going forward is probably going to be presented in an instructional update at a future date, so I would like to kind of leave it at that at this point, because it's kind of evolving as they speak. The committee recommends supporting the work that Marie Bajaj is doing, and we will have more public information being rolled out in an instructional update. Next, we had a request for an addition and a change in the science program at the high school. AP Environmental Science would be an addition, and the committee is supporting that and asks for approval. This is based on student interest, as well as the fact that this AP Environmental Science program will incorporate geology, chemistry, and biology, evolution, weather, and human impacts. The living world is a complicated system with overlapping parts, which lends itself to a myriad of experiments and discussion on environmental ethics. The prerequisites will be biology and chemistry and teacher recommendation, and this is very in keeping with a lot of student interest for this program, so the committee is happy to support this. The next one is a change purely in the title. Currently, we have a forensic chemistry program at the high school. They are looking to change the name of that to forensic science. And the reason for that is to update the title to more accurately reflect the coursework, which is built upon the knowledge gained in physics, chemistry, and biology, and not chemistry alone at this point. So the program is actually covering a broader range, and we'd like the title of that program to be reflective of that. We are recommending approval. Lastly, Dr. Mass presented the committee with the park results, and I know for sure that's going to be an instructional update soon, or yes, a week from tonight. Okay, thank you. It is a week from tonight. There will be an instructional update discussing park, so if anyone wants to come down and be prepared for that, that would be wonderful to have you. Okay, do we have questions? Any questions from the board?
I don't have a question, but I
Go ahead, please. Okay, any questions for? Okay. So
I was able to attend the MAC meeting in the end of November. The discussion was about the safety buggy that happened in October, and everybody enjoyed that very much. And the fact that a little bit of repaving went on behind St. Bart's, a little less bumpy, but it's still not perfect. The students also were able to wear those vision impaired goggles, so they had different experiences from behind the wheel to walking and acting with those goggles. So it's very positive, and they look forward to doing it again in the future. Also, they were discussing the plans for Thankful Week, as well as other activities throughout the year, so that we can, get the students to avoid using
drugs or alcohol, and also they're going to have some presentations done, I believe, in either the end of January or February. Assemblies over at the high school, and I can't remember the exact date, but it was a Tuesday, and it was the gentleman that has been here before, but it's a different topic. He's a fabulous speaker. He just talks about using empathy and seeing others for their problems and getting along and not being a bully and all that. And he does it on various levels. He uses different voices in different situations. That he's going to be coming back again. They are having 2 more meetings this year, one on January 27th and one on April 27th as the upcoming meetings. And they also were discussing some grants that they have to allocate funds to take care of some programs. One was about depression, that they were having a presentation on the why, Scotland's why, and that's what they discussed. Is it Gene Fallon? Mikey Fallon. Mikey, thank you. Yes, it is Mikey Fallon. Thank you.
We all knew it, we just couldn't
I know, I
remember.
see his face, and I've heard him several times before. He is a wonderful speaker, so the students will have the opportunity to again, but it's a different presentation that he's done.
Thank you. Any questions or comments?
Okay.
Letter. Okay, there are letters to the board. Moving on to the superintendent.
Okay, thank you. Tonight, we have on the current agenda at our next meeting, I will be asking under 1S that the board approve the out-of-district placement that's listed. This is a new placement where a student is new to our district who was previously placed and needs to continue in that placement. And then we have, in addition, under 1S, which is simply the addition of speech services for a student who is already out of district. 2S, at our next meeting, I will ask that the board affirm the superintendent's decisions in the 3 harassment, intimidation, and bullying cases that were reported during executive sessions on November 12th and November 19th of 2015. 3S, to date, we do not have any additional requests for field trips. 4S, we will be asking for approval of the Law Enforcement Against Drugs, the LEAD program, and as Mrs. Cleary reported out tonight, the addition of AP Environmental Science will be added to our high school curriculum, and a change in name for forensic chemistry to forensic science. Of course, remains essentially the same, but because it covers more areas than just science, it's more appropriately titled that way. 5S will be asking the board to acknowledge the receipt of the biannual report of gifts to district schools that have been submitted by the high school. And tonight I would ask that the board approve 6S, which is submission of the New Jersey Achievement Coaches Training Team Program Grant. The resolution is that the board approve the submission of the New Jersey Achievement Coaches Training Team Program Grant in an amount up to $65,000. This is the second year of the grant that we received last year. Our teachers were trained as coaches and were able to come back into the district and turnkey their training in such a way that the teachers are teaching the teachers and enriching our professional development program. And I'm very grateful to Dr. Mast, who couldn't be here with us tonight, but her effort in terms of writing the grant can't be underestimated. These are cumbersome and complicated grants to apply for, and we were very fortunate that we received them in the last round, and we're going to try again for this round. So I would ask the board approve that submission this evening.
So we have a motion.
Second.
Again, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. 7S, at our next meeting, I will ask that the board approve the listing of classes for the 2016 Creative Summer Workshop as listed on the agenda. And under 8S, we will have an addition to the agenda. Just this week, we were notified by the New Jersey Department of Education
that we are eligible for an equivalency on CUSAC. And so under 8S, I will be asking the board approve our application for the CUSAC equivalency. For the members of the public, what this means is that every 3 years, districts in New Jersey are monitored through a process called CUSAC, which is the Quality Single Accountability Continuum. And we are monitored in 5 areas: instruction and program, fiscal management, governance, operations, and personnel. In the off years on that 3-year cycle, the superintendent and the board work collaboratively with members of the district staff to complete what's known as a statement of assurance that indicates that we are continuing to be in compliance with regulations and mandates. For the first time last year, the State Department created a plan to differentiate districts. Those districts that were recognized as high-performing districts, which is defined as meeting 80% of the requirements or higher on these individual program reviews. If you meet that target or above, then you are now eligible to apply for an equivalency, which would indicate that you're still in compliance at a very high level. You continue to maintain your status as a high-achieving district, but you do not have to go through a CUSAC review on site or through the paper documentation. We have been notified that we continue in the status of high-achieving district and therefore are eligible to apply for the waiver. That will be a wonderful thing for our district because all the time and energy that would otherwise be put into the paperwork for the review and the on-site visits can be applied to advancing work with our students and working on our curriculum and our district goals. So we are very grateful that the state has found a way to differentiate among the districts, and we're sharing this information with parents. We'll be reviewing it with our administrators, our teachers, tonight with the board. We'll put an announcement on our website, and we will also be sending out a notification to our parents. We are required to invite comment on this, and at our next meeting, we will ask the board to take action to approve our application for the CUSAC equivalency, and if it is approved by the State Department of Education, we will be designated as a high-performing district. That designation will continue for the next 3 years. So that is wonderful news. Thank you. Okay, and then finally tonight, I would ask that the board approve the personnel agenda as discussed in the exec this evening.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. That's a roll call.
Oh, yes, it is a roll call. Please call. Dr. Kulikowski?
Yes.
Dr. Clancy? I'm sorry, Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Dr. Clancy?
Yes.
Mrs. Shermer?
Yes.
Mr. Whitehouse?
Yes.
Mrs. Winkler?
Yes.
Mrs. Cleary?
Yes. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Hayes. Moving on to the business functions, Mrs. Saravaki?
Yes, I'd like to review the ones that have been voted on first, and then I'll review the others. One BUS is the approval of staff training and asking for the board's approval of the staff training reimbursements on the report dated December 10, 2015. For BUS, I'm asking for the board's approval of related services through private vendors. These are services for the 2015 school year from Spectrum Consulting and from First Children in the amount of $1,500 and $22,400 respectively. 5BUS is approval of the Middlesex Regional Educational Services Commission Special Education Tuition Agreement. This agreement does not include tuition costs. It's the overarching agreement that they have that they ask us to agree to for the next 5 years, and when we have students enrolled there, they'll send us a portion of that, which will be separately approved by the board. 6BUS is the Middlesex Regional Educational Services Commission Cooperative Pricing of Environmental Insurance. We pay this amount to Middlesex Regional, the amount of
4% participation fee, which is $539.20 for the work that Middlesex Regional Educational Services Commission went to and the expenses that occurred in developing the program for this environmental insurance. 9BUS is the use of extraordinary aid for the paving project at Park Middle School. Rather than withdrawing from capital reserve, which we had to have budgeted for in our budget, I'm asking the board to approve the use of the 2014-15 excess extraordinary aid monies in the amount of approximately $600,000 to cover the cost for the paving project at Park Middle School. 13BUS, I'm asking for the board to approve acceptance of the award in the amount of $3,022.75 to Terrell Middle School from the Italian American Committee on Education. This is a grant that was applied for by two of our Italian teachers, Marcella Petrona and Carmelo Lambert, for purchase of educational materials to be used towards Italian curricular courses. And no, there's one more. 15BUS on the additions to the agenda. We have a construction change order for the roof replacement at Evergreen that was primarily completed during the summer of 2015. And this is for some metal panels that had to be removed and replaced in the amount of $2,483. This was the labor cost.
Okay, do we have a motion? Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions?
I'll review the other items that, yes, I'll be asking for approval next week. 2BUS is the acknowledgement by the board of the disbursement listings for the month of November 2015 from various bank accounts other than the operating account. 3BUS is acknowledgement of receipt of the security and fire drill reports for the month of November 2015. 7BUS is the renewal of the Honeywell service agreement that is for our instant alert system that we use for notifications to staff and parents. And Mr. Whitehouse reported on this earlier, but there's a 1% increase over last year. 8BUS is the contract renewal with Jersey Professional Management for shared services, and there's no increase in that cost. Our portion of the cost is $2,310. 10BUS are the business reports for the month of November 2015, and that's the board secretary report, treasurer of school funds report, and the budget adjustments. 11BUS will be the bill list for the period November 14th to December 11th, and 12BUS is accepting the grant for, yes, this is a grant entitled Building Teacher Leadership Capacity to support beginning teachers program, and this is a collaborative grant between Kane University, Plainfield Public Schools, and the Scotch Plains Family Public Schools. Our portion of the grant is $22,800. And 14BUS is asking for the board's approval to purchase a timekeeping system. This will replace our existing time clocks and our handwritten sign-ins at the buildings. And the cost of this in the first year will be $29,621. And that's it for business.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or comments? Okay. Then we will move on to, do we have any board business? All right. Other board business, request to attend workshops, workshop reports.
I went to the special ed workshop with the Hudson County Education, the School Board Association, and it was wonderful. Just needed to get in there to get some hot food because I got out just in the nick of time. But the speakers were Dr. Gerard Crisanino, who is a Director of Special Services for Jersey City, as well as being a Board of Ed member for Berkeley Heights. And Nathaniel Simon, who is a lawyer that deals with special education. And they sort of did a panel discussion, PowerPoint presentation, and went over all the terms and acronyms that are used for special education. It was very informative. Reviewed a lot of stuff that I had heard before, reinforced things I already knew. Then they had a few other, speakers from the audience who were workers in different districts that added their words to it. And then they had a few vignettes of things to do and not to do. And, the subject matter was, be good approach to the supermarket, and someone knows you're on the Board of Ed about not interfering and not putting forward things that are not your territory, to refer people back to your district superintendent or back to your director of special services, etc. But they were very clear. It moved right along, and it was a wonderful presentation, and thank you for allowing me to attend. Thank you. Any questions? Yes, I have a listing of all the acronyms and what your meetings are, and I'd be happy to share that.
That would be wonderful. I think you'll benefit from that information. Thanks so much. Okay, any others? All right, so at this time, I think we're up to the approval of the minutes for November 12th for the open agenda meeting and the executive session. And next week, thank you. At this time, I'd like to give the public residents an opportunity to address us from the microphone. Anybody would like to come up? Okay. Seeing no one at this time, we can move on to good of the order. If anyone has anything to say on the order.
I had the pleasure this weekend to see 3 different performances of the Idiot's Delight. It was a play that was performed at the high school. My daughter was in it, so I attended all 3 performances. It was impressive, I know, because I was driving the kids to and from carpooling to rehearsals, that even as late as the middle of last week, they were worried about it coming together and people missing cues and clubbing lines and things. And it was so impressive. They had very little time to pull it together, and they did a really good job. And kudos to Mr. Thompson, who has taken on a lot this year, doing play and the musical at Terrell, and play at the high school, and the musical at Park. It's amazing. But thank you to a lot of the parents who pitched in quite a bit. We have a lot of wonderful resources in the community to put together to build sets and costumes and all kinds of stuff. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'd like to echo that with Amy. I saw her there on Sunday. I also went to see the play, and it was wonderful. I just made it in at 2 o'clock right when it started, but it was great. The accents that the students put out, the German doctor, and the Italian, and the English couple. I mean, everybody that had their part, they knew their ones. I didn't see any flubbing or bubbing of anything. They were superb. And I'm thankful that I was able to attend, and I wish more people were able to do it. I hope they get to do more plays like that, because it really was a great story, and all the students that ran it were magnificent. I can't say enough about it. And I didn't know Amy's daughter was in there until I saw her in intermission. That's my daughter. It's like, they were all just wonderful. Great outside.
Thank you.
So I also got to see Idiot's Delight, and I would echo everything you said, and again, our thanks to Kel Thompson for taking that on. It's been a number of years since the high school has been able to do a dramatic production, and students were very instrumental in pushing us and saying, we want this, so it was wonderful. And this is the season of our concerts, and so last night, Park had its instrumental concert, and Terrell had its choral concerts. Next week or so, they'll flip and they'll have the concomitant ones. But I also want to give a shout out to our fourth grade chorus at Bremer and our high school chamber choir because they were here today. We annually host the Ministerium of Scotch Plains and Fanwood meeting at the December timeframe because the highlight of their meeting schedule is to meet here because they get to hear our students sing. And some of our instrumental students from Moon Blowers are here as well, and it was just amazing performance that they did today at noontime. And the high school will be doing its choral concert a week from this coming Wednesday, actually. So it's a great time, and I just encourage anybody to come out because the music that our students continue to perform is just beautiful.
And all of the information of the upcoming things can be found on the website, so I would encourage people to look at that. At this time, I think we are ready to adjourn at 9 o'clock.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.